Welcome to the Weekly Poll. I'm Benny the Comic Historian. That is Rob from Comics Explained. That is Sal from TV Little House. And that is Sammie from Marie.
Okay, so the music is off
what
now.
What a disaster!
It is not a disaster. It was pretty awesome. It was pretty incredible. Okay.
Anyway.
All right, so how's Jurassic World looking? Oh, so real quick. Topics for today, guys. We're going to talk about a lot of weird comic stuff. We thought about it. Not going to lie, we almost canceled it because Faust had to cancel. I'm still a little burned out from Singapore and Denver Comic Con. Sal is basically been hanging out with Muppet Tiffany all day. That's who's in the window with him there. And that is Rob. I don't know what Rob's doing. Rob's just doing something else. But because it's happening and we have like very sparse topics, we'll be discussing them. But this podcast may be a little all over the place. Just to give you guys a warning right now. But hey, who doesn't love all over the place?
I don't know. Hang those who talk of less. Yeah, so I guess we could jump into one of the topics that Rob and I chatted about earlier.
Yes.
Does anybody know anything about DCU?
Yeah, it looks dumb. Like apparently, what DC is doing is after Convergence is over, and I guess once the Dark Side Wars is over, and it's like everything goes back to New 52 with. Not the New 52, but still the New 52, whatever the hell it is they're calling it.
Yeah, they're not calling it the New 52.
Yeah, they're going to have like, it's going to be like a combination of like creators, writers, artists, and fans that are like working together to make a story. All it means is we're going to get some Silver Age characters back. And we're going to get some New 52 stuff back. I mean, I think that's really all it means.
Okay, well, personally, I think they should not incorporate the fans, because if you let me write a story for Batman, that guy is going to be like, crazy awesome with like Mighty Morphin powers and a giant dinosaur robot, and
these are all things that are in Batman, and you're not really making a case for not doing it.
I think it's more like they're looking at Convergence, and I think they're going to say, okay, what were like the hottest selling issues of Convergence? Like which stories sold the best? And they're going to say then we're going to make universes off that. I'm saying that's my guess. Like they haven't given us like a definitive answer.
What's the best? What was your favorite part of the Vietnam?
Personally, and I know it's never going to come back, I liked the Swamp Thing issues with Vampire Batman. That was awesome.
I didn't
really dug the hell out of.
I heard that was good.
Yeah.
And of course, like old school Oracle fans and old school Dick Grayson fans are hugely fans of what's happening there.
Oh, I loved that. That was really good.
Yeah, and Faust, of course, was thrilled to see Starfire in skimpier outfits.
Right.
Which is weird, because last time I checked, Faust was gay, but whatever, you know.
Listen, you don't have to be straight just to
appreciate orange-skinned women.
A Tamarani in female form.
He is
Everyone's talking about how Faust apparently digivolved into Sammie. Why do you always like whoever you're here, you just like they digivolve into you? Or
here's the thing, though. There's an actual puppet over there. Why can't Faust have Why was I the person he had to turn into?
Because Tiffany digivolved into the puppet.
Is this the jumping of the shark moment for the weekly poll where we have puppets?
It is.
When we pull in a puppet. And Sammie, who apparently also has been related to a Muppet.
Right?
We're officially falling apart.
Yeah.
All right, I gotta go.
Yeah, thanks a lot for joining us, Muppet TV.
Of course. Walk down the stairs.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Okay, so now that we're into like the serious nature of the podcast.
Oh yeah, now it's serious.
I think here's what I think they're doing. Like I don't think they're actually going to say. I don't think it's going to be like a throwback to the '60s where they're like, "Hey, write us like your favorite stories," and then like somebody gets turned into Venom. Like I don't think that's what they're going to be doing. I think they're just going to be like they're going to go with the hottest selling stuff, and I think they're going to look at what fans want. They're going to listen to what they want to a degree, which is kind of weird because you would think a comic book industry would already be doing that. But but I think they're going.
And you know what? One thing I will say about the comic book industry and listening to fans, they don't seem to do it. Neither does Marvel, neither does DC. They just seem to go, here's what we think is going to be a great story. Take it, and you didn't like it. Well, here's what we think is going to be a great story. Take it. Oh, you didn't like that one? Well, here's what we think is going to be a great story. Oh, you didn't like that one? Well, here's what we think. It's one of your ideas.
That's the thing. Like, they don't even know. They don't care. Like, they have no interest in doing what the fans want. And, like, from what I've seen about behind-the-scenes stuff and, like, from interviews and just conversations, like there is nothing but they really have a problem with fans. Like I've never seen a more like jaded creator group than the comic book industry. Like just being like, let's just do this and it'll blow their minds. Like they have nothing but abject resentment for their fans. Like Joe Quesada, like taking ideas like the Spider-Man Peter Parker reveal in Civil War wasn't even in the script. Like in the script, it was just like the last page reveal was something like, you know, I don't know whatever other thing happened in Civil War 3. And Quesada's like, you know what? Make him take his mask off. That'll blow their minds. And it'll have story potential. And like, I remember what's it called? Like, even during the Clone Saga, right? It was this thing that spiraled totally out of control. It took 3 or 4 years to wrap up and end. It went in a million different directions that involved angels and clones and like zombies.
I don't remember the angels or the zombies. Just saying.
The angels were like, anyway, it involved things that have nothing to do with Spider-Man or Marvel Comics whatsoever. And at no point did they say, maybe we should ask the fans what we should do.
The Clone Saga. Everyone asked me to do the Clone Saga, but that literally turned me off of comics.
Yeah,
I was like, look, either I've got too much going on and I can't follow this, or this is like I just don't care anymore. I'm done with comics thanks to this. I only came back in like 2005, 2006 with the Blackest Night prep.
Once they said that the Peter Parker that I had been reading for 15 years was a clone, and that the real one was this new guy who has like blonde hair, I was like, no, I know what you're doing, and I don't want any part of it, and I left.
I mean, they're just going for wow factor, right? Like, they're not really caring about the story, right?
Well, back then, what they wanted to do was they were just so hell-bent on unmarrying Peter Parker. They were like, oh, he's just like, how can we tell all these great Archie comics stories with Peter Parker if he's married? Like, we can't have any of that. So they were like, how can we undo it? And they were like, well, if we make him a divorcee, it makes him even older. Because we want Peter to be perpetually like 18 years old. And they were like, well, if he's divorced, it's older. And if he's a widower, you know, he looks old as well. How can we unmarry him? I know. We'll create another Spider-Man who's the same one, and we'll make him single, and then we'll make the other Spider-Man just go away. And we'll do everything in our power to make you not like him anymore. So, like, once they said that Peter Parker from, like, 1979 to 1996 had been a clone, they then, like, threw in all these moments, like, Peter Parker backhanded Mary Jane across the room in one story.
Wow.
They were doing everything they could to make Peter Parker either unlikable or unsellable.
But
so
why?
That
why?
So that they can tell stories about Peter Parker, Spider-Man, and have him be single. That was like one of their main directives.
Were people asking for that, or were they just assuming?
Well, writers were asking for it. Like, writers were like, we're basically saying, like, I can't tell these stories that I want to tell. And some fans were like, I want things to be, I mean, just like we are today, like, I want things to be like I remember them. Like, I never really liked the Spider marriage. And in point of fact, the Spider marriage was shoehorned in anyway. Because, like, Stan Lee was writing the Spider-Man newspaper comic, which, like, who gives a crap, right? But he had Peter Parker and Mary Jane get married in that, and the comic book industry, or rather Marvel publishers, were so worried that, like, newspaper readers were going to get newspaper reading comic readers were going to be confused about, like, the two different versions, so they just, like, shoehorned the marriage in that way. And so people were like, well, it was illegitimate anyway, so I would like to have that not happen anymore. Because I want to see more, like, Spider-Man and Black Cat getting it on.
You know what? That stuff and what they're doing nowadays reminds me of, and it seems like everyone's taking the same page. Like, I don't know if I'm the only one that watches Game of Thrones or not, but, like, every episode ends...
Games of Thrones...
Well, no, Games of Thrones. It's multiple games, multiple thrones, and
there's Games of Thrones and so on.
Game of Thrones, and a lot of TV shows nowadays, they end on these massive cliffhangers.
Yeah.
That normally get resolved within 2 seconds and didn't make any sense. But comic books started really doing that, like, a lot more recently with the oh my god.
Oh,
Did you like it? Do you want it? No, you don't want. Okay, that's gonna be written out next.
Bendis was like the master of the last page reveal. Literally every last page of Ultimate Spider-Man ends in a full page OMG moment. Even when you buy the next issue and they said, that didn't happen. Like, you just might be the father of this baby. Really? No. But you bought this issue, so anyway, let's move on. I like to think of it as like the Harry Potterization of comics, because, like, as I understand it, Rowling's, like, device strategy for writing Harry Potter comics was to, like, write the end of the chapter, but then remove the last couple of sentences so you were like right in the middle of a moment and then it stops, so you have to turn the page.
That's exactly how she did it.
Because I don't think she had comics.
Yeah, I was going to say no. There
No, there are Harry Potter.
Yeah, Sal doesn't know
Well,
what he's talking about.
I'm saying like the Harry
Sal,
Potter.
For some reason, I felt like this was going to be like Sammie's expertise. Are there Harry Potter comics?
Well, to be fair, that like plot device thing is a very young adult novel. Like,
yes.
I mean, and especially currently, like with like Hunger Games and Divergent and all that stuff, they use exactly that.
I liked Hunger Games. I'm just saying.
Hunger Games that's exactly
I read the
what
hell
it is,
out of
man.
those
like,
books.
Like that's what they did with the Maze Runner. It's just like, oh my god, they're all in this maze, and all of a sudden, holy cow, girl, bam, chapter ends, and then you pick up with the next one. So like it all makes sense with what they're doing. But here's the problem though. I can understand why writers would be jaded with comic book fans, because if every time you try something different, like they come back and they say, nope, go back to what you were doing before, they're shooting down every new idea that you have, and so it makes sense that you would kind of become jaded. But I think that writers also get pigeonholed. Like people will look at Claremont and they'll say, yes, Claremont did Extreme X-Men, and it may come for whatever reason that Marvel's like, hey Claremont, you want to take a crack at the Fantastic Four? And he's like, yeah, sure. They're like, nope, go back to the X-Men. That's what that's what fans would say. They would say, you go back to the X-Men. That's what the fans want. And that's the problem is, yes, the role of Marvel is to give the fans what they want, but if all Marvel ever did was give the fans what they want 100% of the time, Marvel would never grow, because we'd be stuck with 1980s X-Men, and it would never, ever change. And that's a terrible thing.
Everybody's no Jubilee and Morph.
Well, that's the thing. Like, X-Men 92 is proof of that. We're getting a book called X-Men 92 where it's literally Jubilee and Morph and everybody you remember. And
yeah, that's
I'll
one
be damned if I'm not going to buy it. Like, I'm going to read the hell out of that.
Yeah, and it's cool
because I like that version of the X-Men.
Yeah, it's cool and it's nice, and it's cool to get a comic about that, and hopefully we'll see that continue after Secret Wars is over. But I don't want all of Secret Wars to be a throwback. I don't want everything after like Secret Wars ends to be a throwback to like 1980s and 1990s Marvel comics, because yes, there were great stories, but there were also really, really terrible stories too. And so
most are bad.
Virgin. I mean, look what I'm holding right here. I got two great examples. These are throwback comics. Both of these.
Yeah.
You have one about like who has anyone even followed Shang-Chi and like Shang-Chi, whatever his name is, forever?
Shang-Chi.
He appears in a bunch of like Spider-Man books because for some reason Slott thinks he's cool, and I think he was in Shadowland.
And I still don't know who the outsiders are. Like,
I thought Marvel
I still don't know who they are.
I thought Marvel lost the rights to Shang-Chi. Like I thought those rights went back to the estate of the artist that created him, because he was made in like 1914 or something crazy like that.
Really?
Like Shang-Chi goes way back. Like he's the archetype for like all the villains, like Emperor Ming from Flash Gordon, and like all those like archetypical Asian villains with the Fu Manchus. That all comes from Shang-Chi. So at least I'm pretty sure it's him, unless it's somebody else. But
yeah.
He was made in 1972. You are so far off base.
No, I'm not. Okay, then who am I thinking? Hold on, who am I thinking of?
Conceived in late 1972 when Marvel Comics acquired the rights to a book from the pulp fiction villain Dr. Fu Manchu.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking of then, Dr. Fu Manchu. Like who?
Instead of producing a straight adaptation of the source material, they combined the two, and the result was Shang-Chi, the master of kung fu.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. That's what I'm thinking of. No, Shang-Chi is the son of Dr. Fu Manchu, or it was supposed to be, and they don't have the rights to Fu Manchu. That's what that is.
No, well, they can't use it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, by the way, best version
bad.
of Fu Manchu, Nicolas Cage.
From where?
Did you ever see Grindhouse, the Planet Terror and Death Proof double feature? One of the fake trailers is by Robert Rodriguez. No, it's Rob Zombie, I think. Chad will correct me, but like, yeah, it's Rob Zombie, and like, it's called Werewolf Women of the SS, and it's about werewolf zombies that fight sexy Nazi vampire chicks, and Nicolas Cage cameos as Fu Manchu, and he's got the whiskers, and he's stereotypically made up. It's just amazing. It is a spectacular trailer. I think it's like 3 minutes. You gotta watch it. It's if you like schlocky 70s like exploitation movies, or if you think they're kind of fun, enjoy that trailer.
Well, forget Jurassic World then. They should be rebooting that.
I agree.
That's exactly what I want to see.
Rob, you wanted to talk about Jurassic World.
And then we'll
yeah, I want to see a return. Yeah, that's exactly what I want to see. I want to see Blackula come back. Like, yeah, I want to see a reboot of Blackula. A black Dracula.
They should do that.
Like a smooth
tying it with comics. Tying it with comics, Blackula should be like in the next Blade thing.
Yeah.
Blade.
But no, so anyway, no, I mean, and that's why I say, I mean, you know, the funny thing, like we had this conversation once before where we talked about people's favorite eras in comics, and people love the era of the comics, not so much the comics themselves. Like people say, "Oh, the '90s was like the greatest era in comics," and I think it was in a lot of ways. I do, like I say that I think it was the greatest era, but there were some terrible stories that came out of the '90s. Like we had in '99, 2000, we had Maximum Security, which was absolute garbage. Like in the 1990s, we had Operation Galactic Storm. It was quite literally Nimrod going into the Siege Perilous and then coming out as Bastion. Like, I mean, there were some really bad stories that took place in the 1990s, but there were some really good stories too. Fatal Attractions, the Avalon event, when Magneto was like, you know what, let's just take mutants off Earth, put them on an asteroid, and then suddenly it's this great big huge conflict, and Magneto gets the adamantium torn out of his body. Like, there were really, really cool moments in the 1990s, and I think that's what people forget. People say, oh, yeah, I love the 1990s, and the comics were amazing. The best stories to ever come out of Marvel came out of, like, the decade when I read comics. Whether it's, like, the 70s, or the 80s, or the 90s, or the 2000s.
It's the nostalgia factor.
It's the nostalgia factor, and people kind of ignore the fact that there are some bad stories that came out of those decades too. And
well, I will say, I didn't have the nostalgia factor because I was born in '93, so I was kind of past that. But the '90s Aquaman by Peter David is my favorite Aquaman story of all time.
Really?
So it isn't just nostalgia. I'm backing you up here, Rob. It's not just nostalgia factor. There were some really, really good stuff, and I mean.
Yeah.
Well, there is some good stuff, but at least I agree with Rob. A lot of it is crap. I mean, a great example of this, and I get in this argument with a friend of mine all the time. Same thing applies to video games. And the biggest example of this is every generation of Pokemon is worse than the last because everyone likes the last one, the one that you played. I mean, I think every one of us here played a Pokemon, right?
Yeah.
Everyone.
Oh yeah.
I played Pokemon.
And let me guess. Your favorite generation is the one you played, right?
Yeah. Pokemon
you didn't,
Reds.
Sammy? Sammy's not a Pokemon fan?
Pokemon Red was my game.
That's a whole different story. But my parents, for some reason, they would get me like the Russian or German version, like it was like a really cheap knockoff version of it. So like anytime I try to talk, like even like Mario Kart or something like that, I'll try to talk about that, and they're like, "Yeah, Mario and Luigi," and I'm like, "Oh, do you mean Morhan and Leshan?" That's what I played with. So
you need to tell stories about your adventures with Russian Mario and Luigi.
Yes, I'm actually very curious to see how that turned out. But no, it's funny to me, and that's why I say, you know, like it's not a bad idea to reach out to fans. But the problem is when you reach out to fans and say, fans, like, tell us what you want and that's what we'll do for the next year, all you're going to get is really old stories. And you're not going to be able to, like, move forward with new ideas. Like, the reason why Secret Wars happened is because Marvel says, you know what, let's just, like, take a risk. Let's just, like, reboot our entire multiverse and let's just, like, take characters that we killed off, bring in different characters. Let's bring back some old characters. Some of it is stupid. Like, who wants to see Weird World? Who like, wrote into Marvel and said, like, I want to see Weird World come back. Like, I want to see Where Monsters Dwell. Where Monsters Dwell was a crappy 70-some-odd issue run of comics that was dumb. It had to do with dinosaurs. Like, that's
I have no idea why you just made me think of this.
Right.
If we're talking about stuff I want to come back, I want to see Real Monsters come back. I know it has nothing to do with comics, but
I'm so down with Real Monsters.
I didn't like Real Monsters.
Angelica was.
It has nothing to do with comics. I said we're going to be all over the place in this podcast. I'm like half asleep still.
Can we do like either a podcast or a show or a channel where we just talk about 90s cartoons? Like 80s and 90s cartoons?
Yeah, you could. Actually, Black Nerd Comedy is an enormous channel that talks about nothing but 80s stuff.
Maybe I'll give him a call after the show.
I mean, I'm okay with it.
But yeah, like
the weekly poll 20 years ago.
Exactly.
But no, I mean, no, go ahead. No, you're fine. Go ahead.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I was just gonna say, like, they took the names of things that older people might remember, and and then do something different with it. Like, Planet Hulk is not about like Sakaar. It's like, and Where Monsters Dwell is not about that. Like, it's about monsters from the Marvel Universe, like Man-Thing and Frankencastle. Like, that's fun and neat. Especially if Battleworld #1 is an indicator, which was super rad and cool. As such, I think we should also consider talking about those tie-ins, because I don't know if you guys read most of those tie-ins, but...
the only one I haven't read that you guys told me to read was A-Force.
A-Force was so good.
Oh, that's really good.
That's the only one I didn't read, I said.
Oh,
So.
oh.
You didn't read it. Well, it's great.
It's really
Let's just
cool.
talk about how great A-Force is without Benny.
Well, see, here we
You know what? I want to start. I'll start this off. I'll kick off because I probably read the least amount from you guys because I was in Singapore last week, so I got all of my comics from a Singapore shop and all this other stuff. But it was really cool, actually. I'll tell you the story before we end this podcast. I'll explain the adventures in Singapore. And what I've learned is don't agree to random things people say because you'll end up in a car going across Singapore eating random food with fans. So, but that's another.
that sounds so awesome.
I will tell you that story after this is over. But the first one I'm going to say I hated was Battleworld because it just felt like Avengers versus X-Men, the Versus series, but without characters I knew about, like
That's
these
funny.
weird, obscure what-if versions.
When
I
Tiffany read
disagree.
Battleworld for us, it looked like that Versus book, which was garbage, like AVX Versus, where it was just like, oh, just the fights, which was just ass.
Which got delayed like crazy, so it stopped like.
Right, like who cares? Like, what are you delaying it for? Like, throw the deviant orders who all want to be working for Marvel. Give them the book. It's just Spider-Man punching crappy Colossus Juggernaut. Just make that a book. It's 12 pages. Go for it. That said.
We'll add in text later. We'll make some kind of stupid jokes later.
Yeah, who cares? Yeah, exactly. Spider-Man makes a quippy comeback. His mouth is covered by a mask. It doesn't matter. And Colossus will just be yelling anyway, so you can have him say anything. But
Yeah, I disagree. I really liked Battleworld.
yeah, those pitches, by the way, because Battleworld is basically just a pitch book. Hey, would you like to see this? Yeah, we'll keep that going. Would you like to see that? And by the way, half of that book is MODOK. I hate MODOK. That's MODOK.
Yeah, I didn't care about MODOK.
But that pitch, like when Tiff described it, I was like, all right, because it's basically the end of the Powerpuff Girls movie. Because and by the way, I like the Powerpuff Girls. And at the end of the Powerpuff Girls movie, Mojo Jojo, if you're not familiar with Mojo Jojo, read a book and watch a cartoon. And at the end of the movie, Mojo Jojo releases this chemical X that made him super smart onto all the monkeys. And so all the monkeys become Mojo Jojo-fied. And so they all come up with their own evil schemes to take over the world and start usurping each other. And that's basically the pitch for the MODOK book. And that's amazing. That's hilarious.
I'm going to throw this out there real quick because we always joke that Faust causes the weird pull. Maybe it's not Faust because we're talking about Powerpuff Girls. And
Powerpuff Girls is a superhero cartoon show, which is totally relevant to our superhero / comic book podcast. So
Was she in Battleworld? Were they in Battleworld?
Were they in Battleworld? No, but the plot to that movie was.
No, here was a problem. Like, if it was a pitch, they did a terrible job because the idea of the Punisher and Doctor Strange walking around, that would be so good. But the Punisher's dead now; he's gone.
Right.
So
but I would still read Inferno Wolverine with Doctor Strange.
By the way, that's going to be the Wolverine. Yeah, I'm calling it out. That'll be the Wolverine that we get at the end of
the Inferno Wolverine.
I bet you money, it's Old Man Logan Wolverine.
I think so too. I think so too. He doesn't have adamantium. All he has is his bone claws. But this is Battleworld.
No, he has adamantium.
I thought he didn't have adamantium.
Oh, Old Man Logan does have adamantium.
Really? I thought all he had was no. You're right. Yeah, because at the end of it, when he's snicked and he busts out his claws. Yeah.
Yeah. What you're thinking of is the fact that Hugh Jackman is an old man, and when he played Wolverine last, he had both claws.
Both do it.
No, but see, here's the kicker. Here's what I think would be kind of cool too, because I think the biggest problem people have with Wolverine, and maybe this is Marvel playing on this. The biggest problem people had with Wolverine are you serious?
Doing the Faust.
the biggest problem people had with Wolverine by the time Wolverine died is every story that he was in, he just showed up and killed people, and then that was it. He was this mindless guy that does stupid things. Wouldn't it be cool if the main Wolverine that we got was the Old Man Logan, just a little bit smarter, a little bit wiser, a little more reserved, Wolverine? That'd be really cool, I think.
Because what a great story what to quote Marvel, what great story potential. But there's a moment that I can totally imagine where because it's going to be in the past, right? And the future that Old Man Logan is from won't exist. And I can imagine, because if you're not familiar with Old Man Logan, his family's slaughtered. There's a moment that you can totally imagine that I think is actually being influenced by the show, the Sarah Connor Chronicles, in which like, and you do this down the road where Old Man Logan like goes to this house and like he keeps leaving the team like to go do some like secret mission, and you assume that it's him like killing bad guys or doing something cool, and it's actually him going to the house that belongs to the parents of like his wife.
Like you know where he's going to be going off to? He's going to be going off to a secret farm with a family that he has to take care of, and he'll eventually drag the Avengers there, and they'll have a talk, and he'll be the guy that brings them all down to Earth. And
I like those moments in movies when we take a minute from the action to like be cool and build character.
You know what? Okay. I was all for building character for the Avengers, but I just saw Mad Max yesterday, and that proved to me that you only need 10 minutes and like 10 lines on Mad Max, and you have an incredible movie.
Not necessarily true. Like, we had like 30 years worth of character development for Mad Max, so we really didn't have to
two other movies where like nothing was said.
What we needed was Tina Turner in Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome.
Did you watch Mad Max, Sammy?
No, I need to see it.
Oh, it's so good.
I was going to see it yesterday. I did not.
God, it's so
good. I went to go see it yesterday. It was incredible. Like Tom Hardy has like 10 lines. Half the movie he's wearing a Bane mask, which I thought was the funniest thing ever.
Oh. Yeah, and they have like these super fast sequences and stuff. Behind you stands a strong impression. But no, it's funny to me. Because when I was looking at, like, when Sal told us, like, when he was like, hey, guys, like, Marvel was mentioning something about what's going to happen after Secret Wars, I looked up the article on Newsarama, I think it was, and they were talking about the interview with Peter David or whoever, but they were talking about Future Imperfect. And as we know, Future Imperfect, like, Planet Hulk goes from the past to the future to stop Maestro and Dystopia, and it was a really cool story, because you have this Incredible Hulk that's stronger in his normal state than the Incredible Hulk in the past. And so, right off the bat, he's getting pummeled, but then the angrier he gets, they basically start to match each other. And in this one, I think what he mentioned was that Future Imperfect is going to have nothing to do with that story, and instead, it's going to be about Maestro trying to overthrow Doom. And that's going to be cool, and they said he's going to have, like, a bigger role after Secret Wars, but that's why I was really kind of irritated by Marvel when they were launching the whole Secret Wars thing, because they said, okay, here's Battleworld, and here's like the map, and here's the stories, and they said, okay, Planet Hulk. When they said, no more, all they did was send you to the Planet Hulk story. And so it's like, okay, are they going to be telling us the story, like retelling it, or is it just going to be in name only? And I think it's pretty clear now that it's only going to be in name only. Benny, what are you doing, man? Are you having an episode? Benny's freaking out, man.
I'm doing it Faust style, but in Benny style.
Oh my god! But no, it's man. I have no idea what's going on in this podcast right now. I'm.
This is what happens when Benny goes to Singapore for a week and is like on crazy jet lag. Doesn't even know where am I? Am I? What are we doing here?
How was your convention? How was it?
Well, no, I want Rod to finish his point. I'll talk about the convention and stuff.
It's fine. I'm kind of curious, but no,
I didn't mean to really distract them. I'm just sitting here posing.
But I am excited because apparently they're making like Maestro is going to be a major bad guy.
That's what I'm saying. That's what they said. What the hell, man? Okay, you know what Benny reminds me of? Benny reminds me of the first day of school. And it's like the one kid who has like a super bad case of ADD. Yep. And like the teacher's like, hey guys, here's what we're going to be going over this semester, and all he does is like get up and roam around the class. And,
hey, how did you know how my first days of school went?
Because those were my first days of school. I was super ADD when I was in school.
Who is Faust? Faust is our normal fourth person on the podcast. Today, he's been morphed into Sammie.
But don't feed the rumor.
Don't fan the flames, man.
If you guys actually go subscribe to Sammy's channel, it's Faust's off channel where it morphs into Sammie. So
I can't even be insulted by that because Faust is so cool. So
Faust is a very pretty man. I said it.
I know he's watching right now. Faust, we love you, man. But no, it's one of those interesting things. I was a little irritated because I was hoping to maybe see, like, at the very least a rewrite, because one of the things I thought would have been cool is to, like, take Planet Hulk away from Greg Pak and say, like, it was Greg Pak that wrote Planet Hulk originally, wasn't it?
Or it was Greg Pak.
Okay, because I thought he did Planet Hulk and World War Hulk, but I would love to see it, like, kind of...
Romito did the art for that one. I thought I was missed up.
Romito did World War Hulk. I don't remember who did Planet Hulk.
Yeah, me neither.
I don't know.
But I wouldn't mind seeing, like it removed from Greg Pak and given to somebody else and seeing their take on it and, like, a 3-issue... story. Like that would have been really, really cool. I'm not upset with what they're doing. I'm actually really curious to see like how all these factions of Hulks exist together, and like because apparently the Maestro is a leader of them all. So is the Maestro just kind of like over them, and then all the factions report to him, or is it just kind of like he's over the biggest faction? I mean, I don't know how all that stuff works, and I'm really anxious to see how it all turns out. I'm really excited to see what they do. It's just if what they were going to do was not rewrite the story of Planet Hulk, then why call it Planet Hulk? You know,
right.
I guess maybe it was supposed to draw people in. I don't know.
A gamma bomb went off and turned everyone in that city into Hulks. So like, it's literally a planet full of Hulks.
I mean, I actually 100% agree with you on this one. And that's my big takeaway that I don't like about Secret Wars so far is we're getting names like Planet Hulk, you know, or Deadpool's Secret War, in which he was just in the Secret War. Like,
it has nothing to do with this. It's
like we have all these different things going on, and honestly, I feel like the titles that they're coming up with, they're clickbait titles on YouTube. Everyone knows those titles that people come up with that have nothing to do with their video, you know, big boobs here. So guys, I want to talk to you about the latest video game release. You know, it's like
they're coming.
Yeah, the boobs. I got like one panel of them in the end of the video. Don't worry about that. But let me talk about The Witcher first.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what they're doing with these titles. You know, like Planet Hulk, Battleworld. Wait, this isn't what I thought it was. You know what I mean? Like, exactly. And it's Master of Kung Fu, Ultimate End Battleworld. I mean, even that, it says Battleworld on it. I don't know why. Isn't that the ending of the Ultimate Universe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not.
And that's you know, Ultimate End was... I was actually on the fence. Like, when Sal was like, Ultimate End sucked. Because I hadn't read it at that point. And you were like, man, Ultimate End sucks. And I was like, really? He's like, all they do is just talk. And so I was like, well, let's crack it open and see.
Whoa. I am all about all them talking. My issue is it looks like Bendis was like mad that Hickman got to end the Marvel universe. And he's like, no, before everything ends, I'm gonna end it too. Like it makes no sense in the context like of what you're reading, and maybe it will, but knowing Bendis and his adoration of continuity, it probably won't. It'll just be his version of the end of the Ultimate Universe, which by the way, like, fine, but I'd rather just watch him end Ultimate Spider-Man. Like, I don't care about what recently dead Captain America, but I guess he didn't really die during the last event, Ultimate version is gonna do in this stupid thing. Like, I don't care about that. I don't care about what Tony Starks think about each other. One of them's already dead. Like, it doesn't matter. Who cares?
No. Remember, like, Ultimate End takes place on Battleworld. Because the Thor Corps shows up at the end.
Wait, it does?
Yeah.
At the end of Ultimate End?
Yeah, Ultimate End #1, yeah. The Thor Corps shows up.
Right. Except that's stupid. Except that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, no, that is the Thor Corps.
Yeah, the Thor Corps shows up.
in there.
Yeah, no, because all right, here's what I think happened. And I don't know how the hell Bendis is going to explain it, but the only thing I could think of that happened is the guys from the Earth 616 raft made it out of the raft. Obviously, they all ended up in some city, some part of Battleworld, and then you have the guys from the Ultimate Universe. But that doesn't make any sense because the only survivors we know of from the Ultimate Universe
is this girl made out of snakes.
Yeah,
that's the Serpent Society. No. She has a snake that runs up along her arm and down her back.
Yeah.
No,
my hand is a snake.
And that begs a really good question. Why is the Serpent Society part of...
Oh, because they were a throwaway villain. If it was Baron Zemo, you'd be like, well, that fight should have been a lot longer. But if it's Serpent Society...
Why does Jessica Drew Spider-Woman not have her new costume?
Because she's a different version. But no, it was weird to me reading that, but it kind of makes sense too, because the question I have is this. And this is why Bendis, I love you, man. Like, brother from another mother, man. I love your writing. I love your stories. But your continuity, man, you're killing me. You know, I don't understand how it all fits together. The only survivors of the Ultimate Universe that we know of are Ultimate Reed Richards and the Cabal. And that's it. Those are the only people. They emerged out of the Ultimate Universe raft. And I have a very hard time believing that if everybody else in the Ultimate Universe survived, that we wouldn't know. And so maybe they did. I have no idea. Maybe we'll find out.
They're on their own life raft, one for the whole planet. Now, because she hasn't gotten a word to say in Edgewise, and before we move on to other topics, what is your opinions on the Secret Wars? Because even I can't talk over Sal and Rob in this one. They feel so strongly about the Ultimate Universe and Secret Wars.
I will say, though, I haven't quite gotten that, read that story where I'm like, yes, this has hooked me. I'm invested. I haven't quite gotten there yet. Like, there's been a couple times where I'm like, oh, Oh, do I care? I don't know. Like, I'm kind of still on the fence about it. But I will say, I do love Bendis as well, but his continuity is, he does this all the time. That's his biggest problem. And this isn't the only story he's done this with. He has continuity issues.
Yeah.
But, I mean, maybe it'll all somehow flow all together from all those other unfinished stories.
I don't
They'll
know.
all
I mean,
connect.
maybe it will, but like, see, the problem, Marvel, the problem with Marvel sometimes is Marvel says, okay, we've got A, and we've got B, we need like a bridge between the two. And so, like, somebody figures it out over the course of a half-hour lunch break, and they're like, here's an idea, and they say, fine, let's run with it. For example, Age of Ultron. All right, the question is, okay, what happens? Like, I mean, there's Age of Ultron. We can't have no ramifications for this event, so what happens?
Right.
Well, Wolverine broke time, and Galactus is in the Ultimate Universe. And fans are like, but how? And Marvel's just don't worry about it. That's just the way it is.
Shut up!
And that's the problem, is continuity works wonders. It works wonders when it makes sense. That's why Hickman was able to write a 3-year-long story that made sense by the time you were done reading it, because continuity is a very wonderful thing. But that's why my biggest concern is, once Secret Wars ends, can Marvel keep up the hype? Can they keep up the greatness of what Hickman wrote? And I don't think they can. It's like Marvel minus Kirby.
Where is Hickman going? I've heard multiple rumors.
I
know he's leaving Marvel.
Leaving Marvel. He's probably going to do Velvet. Like, or
I thought it was like official.
He'll probably
he was going to
creator
DC.
own.
I thought he was going to DC. Like, I thought that was the announcement.
That's supposedly he was, but I haven't heard anything about that since then.
Is that true, or is that just a rumor?
I think that's a rumor. I've not heard that
it's just a rumor, I think. But
I think it is a rumor right now.
I mean, I would see him. I think Hickman will just do a whole bunch of creator-owned stuff. He really likes doing that.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first ever.
He's one of those guys that I don't think needs to go anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he'll probably do TV and continue East of West.
I mean, if I were Hickman, I would try something different. Like, I would leave Marvel and branch out into creating like my own entire universe in and of myself, because that was a really cool thing. I mean, Kirby would have had something awesome. Like, if DC hadn't like dicked him over. And when he went over there and was like, new gods, let's just create this whole mythology. And DC was like, it's cool, but like, let's just bring Darkseid over. And then they gave him the boot. Like, that would have been, like, it would have been a really, really cool self-contained story. It would have been like, it would have felt a lot like New Universal, which was a really cool...
New Universal.
Oh, don't even.
Yeah,
what's your problem with
New Universe? A greest idea. New Universe is a great idea.
Warren Ellis hit the nail on the head with New Universal. In fact, he was so good at writing it, he used established actors as the characters. Bruce Willis was like one of the guys from New Universal. Benny, are you serious?
Yeah, he would say yes to that.
Rob, you're so easily distracted. I just moved my head and you're like,
dude, my ADD is so bad. Like, I'll be walking along and I'll be like, okay, what do I need to do today? Oh, something's flashy.
Yeah. Oh, a
flashy
dog.
object. It's pitiful. But no, like, New Universal was such a cool concept. The problem is they just didn't stretch it out long enough. It was a really cool story. It had some really unique items. You had non-Marvel superheroes that were part of it, and the story was still interesting. Like, I liked Warren Ellis's New Universal, at least the Volume 2, if that's what people want to call it. But nonetheless, I mean, I would read whatever it was that Hickman produced, on his own.
Right, whatever he does.
Yeah, story, written, what have you, or whatever it is. I mean, I'd check it out. But no, like I said, with Marvel Secret Wars, they have a really cool idea going. They have a really cool concept going. I'm interested to see what happens next. It's just, I don't like bait and switches. I don't like Marvel saying, like, hey, guys, like, come check out Secret Wars, where we have, like, Planet Hulk. And then when you get there, it's like, well, it's not the Planet Hulk It's like this different Planet Hulk. It's like, okay, I mean, it's not bad, but I wish you'd, like, told me up front where you were giving me. When
they could have at least needed something like the Planet Hulk, or all new Planet Hulk, or Planet Hulk now, or
something to indicate.
I feel like these are my final thoughts on that. I like what they're doing with it. I think it's fun. I think it is clickbait, but fine. Like, I can imagine it being like them talking to different writers and being like, "Pitch me Planet Hulk," and that's all you have. All you have to work with is the title and the fact that it has to be in the context of Doctor Doom is God and Thor's are the police.
And Captain America has a T-Rex.
Right, well, only in that one. Like, that's their pitch. Is Captain America with a devil dinosaur.
Sammie's got it. I'm not going to lie. When I first started reading, I'm like, is that Captain America and a T-Rex?
But I would also like to see, in addition to a good rolling out of collected volumes of classic tales, Elseworlds type retellings of classic tales. Like, I would like to see what Warren Ellis would do with a Phoenix Saga, or I would like to see what I'm trying to think of somebody really cool that I would like to like. I would like to see Dan Slott's version of Maximum Carnage. Like, I'd like to see different.
No,
like,
you don't want to see that because
no, I don't. I've seen it already. Yeah, it's called friggin' Spider-Verse.
Yeah,
But like,
I was gonna
what
say.
they need to do is like just. I would like to see that, like them taking these classic stories, being like, we're gonna update them. We're gonna try them again. Like, and they're gonna be self-contained, one story, like Rage of Ultron, just original graphic novels made by top creators or just like really interested creators, and just see what. And you know, when people go, which Maximum Carnage, the old one. Like, is it that hard to really like?
Yeah.
Whole new Maximum Carnage. Name it. But I'm going to steer us off of this now. We're going to move over to a different topic because we've kind of looping. And the two of you guys had a great time. Thank you for letting me and Sammie join you today while you have your discussions about Secret Wars.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. I feel like Rob does whenever we go crazy into a DC topic, and Rob's just like, all right, yeah, so that obscure character I don't know nothing about.
Right.
But let's shift over to a lot of news has been coming out on the TV and movie fronts. Like, we've got that list of every movie from here to Dawn of Time, which now incorporates all of Fox's choices apparently, which gives us 6 superhero movies a year, which is what?
Yeah. Hard to imagine.
Yeah.
And then there's also the TV shows. Sammie, since you haven't been, do you watch any of the shows? Do you?
Yeah, I'm pretty much involved in all of them. I don't watch Constantine or.
No one does.
That's why it's gone.
That's why it's being canceled.
Yeah.
I feel responsible now. Thanks.
I mean, it wouldn't cancel
Signed
for
the
no
petition
reason.
to get it back. Then you're doubly responsible, and you opened up a beer, I think.
I'm sorry, I knocked something over. I'm sorry.
No, the reason I want to bring it up though is because right now with the Arrow ended their season, Flash did. CW is going crazy. Well, I gotta say more like DC TV is going crazy. They're like, here's Supergirl, here's the Legends of Tomorrow, here's 1001 Green Lantern hints. Here's
Yeah.
So how do you feel about the direction all these shows are going in now? Like that, basically CW is becoming the superhero network, and it's bleeding into other properties they have like CBS.
Yeah.
I mean, why not, right? I mean, that's kind of that's my idea of it, I guess.
But I mean, aren't we going to eventually hit so many shows and so many ideas that we're going to have too many things to watch? Like, I don't know about you, but like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is on the bottom of my list. I have to like force myself to watch it. I watched like Supernatural before I watched that, and that show's been down the drain for like 5 years now.
That's true. But I mean, yeah, it is going to. And I'm honestly wondering about how is it called Legends of Tomorrow? Is that what it
Legends
is?
of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Legends of Tomorrow. I'm honestly
Hawk
very
Girl,
curious
Rip
to see
Hunter.
how that goes. Because this is kind of their first kind of team kind of thing, right?
It is. It is going to be interesting because the people that they chose to put into it.
Yeah.
Well, not
Yeah.
only that, like, I'm curious, how's the show going to fit into continuity? Like, season 2 of
Well,
The Flash is going to pick up with Barry Allen probably traversing, like, the multiverse. That's probably what it's going to be. It's him just bouncing around the multiverse and... who
Oh, no.
knows,
Well,
and-
yeah, I can see that. But here, the Legends of Tomorrow is actually a mid-season replacement like Peggy Carter was.
Oh, see, I thought
So
it was going to be like an
whatever
ongoing
happens in the
series.
first half of Flash is going to lead into Legends of Tomorrow. I can tell you that right now because he's in Legends of Tomorrow, so he comes back. Obviously, you know.
Okay,
Here's
well then it's
my
going to...
assumption is it's going to be like Legion of Superheroes, where like Barry's going to go on this adventure and then come back, and it'll be like he never left.
Well, that's going to confuse the hell out of fans. You're going to be like, I mean, see, that's stupid. Okay, the only way they're going to be able to pull this off is if they say, okay, guys, like mid-season, like the whole thing, Legends of Tomorrow, cool. Like you get to watch this. Barry Allen's there. Fans are going to be like, okay, make this
I
make
think
sense.
Arrow's there
and then-
for a chunk too.
Yeah,
he's gonna be
Arrow's there a
too.
little bit, I guess.
And then, like, as soon as like Arrow season 4 pick up, and as soon as Flash season 2 picks up, they're going to have to immediately explain how all that ties in the continuity. If they don't, then people are going to be like, "Well, that's dumb," and they're not going to understand what's going on.
I know you weren't watching them, but I loved the fact that they did this. But they actually tied in cameos for each guy into the
Yes.
continuities.
They-
Like towards the
yeah.
end of both seasons, without really delving too much into them, because I don't want this to be a spoiler cast in case you're still catching up on Arrow and Flash. But like Arrow vanishes. Like on the where did Arrow go? No one knows. But if you watched Flash, he popped up to help out Barry Allen,
Yes.
and vice versa. Barry had to leave at some point, and you find out that he went over to help out on Arrow. And they made sure it linked together, but very loosely. So if you weren't paying attention, you didn't miss anything. But if you were paying attention, you were like, "Ah!" that was my reaction. I should do reaction videos.
I mean, not only that, but like, you know, at the end when Barry Allen was running through the Speed Force, like we saw a version of Caitlin Snow where she becomes Killer Frost. Like,
well, that we know is happening, just like Vibe. Like they implied now that what's his name, Cisco has the powers. You were altered too, Cisco.
Yeah, but there's a difference between actually between them saying yes, he can be that character, and like seeing him as that character. Like seeing Caitlin Snow as Killer Frost is different than saying, hey, there's Caitlin Snow. Like she might become Killer Frost. It depends. You know, we may or may not.
Maybe it'll be just like Smallville. I think it was like season 1 or 2 where they showed like his cape, and it wasn't until season 10 where he wore the cape.
Yeah, like the last 5 minutes of the episode. No, I don't know. I mean, I mean, I'm a continuity hound. Like things have to make sense to me. Like if something happens, like if A happens and then B happens and C happens, and there's no explanation as to why, like it drives me up the wall.
Yeah.
It's not a deal
You're gonna
breaker.
hate comic books come like September when both companies have said, screw continuity, we're doing stories.
No, because that's different, because it's just a self-contained series of stories. That I understand. If it's self-contained and totally isolated, if they came out and said, you know, Legends of Tomorrow is self-contained, totally isolated, it has nothing to do with the main story of either TV show, it's just your characters in a different situation, I'd be like, okay, cool, let's just jump into it and see what happens. But if they don't explain that, and they're just like, well, here's a TV show, and there's no indication of how it matches up with anything, that's going to drive me up the wall. Like, it's going to drive me nuts.
That's how I feel about continuity too. I really like when the stories fit together, and when there's like little like Easter eggs and homages, and when there's like callbacks and tie-ins. Like I like that, but and it really drives me nuts when like people are just like, oh well, whatever. I just wanted to tell the story. So,
well, let me ask you this then, because DC's obviously going nuts on their TV side. You know, Marvel pretty much owns the movies. DC's like, screw it, we're taking the TV front. What do you think Marvel's going to do with because like they've only got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Peggy Carter's not even getting a season 2, is it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it
Is
is.
it?
Yeah, it is. But
yeah, it's coming back like in a couple months.
I only watched the first 3 episodes and I abandoned that one. I just like,
I liked the hell out of it. It was great.
man, Marvel doesn't need to do anything. Marvel's got a winning combination. Marvel has the movies, Marvel has Netflix, and Marvel has like 2 shows on like syndicated television. That's all they need. Let DC have the TV shows. DC's doing great with TV shows. The Flash, like Green Arrow, like Supergirl, Gotham. Supergirl had a strong, like Sal disagrees. I think Supergirl had a great pilot. Like I really enjoyed Supergirl.
I didn't mind the Supergirl pilot. I mean, I guess we can discuss a little bit. I didn't mind it. I kind of enjoyed it. My complaint is I feel like the Silver Age Supergirl has less room for growth than more future iterations. Every version of Supergirl seems to have gotten more room for growth. The Silver Age Supergirl seems to be bound by I'm just like my cousin, but I'm a girl. You know, and that's pretty much, yeah. But like, in New 52 Supergirl, she's like more powerful than Superman. She has her own history. She goes to do her own adventures. She has nothing to do with Superman for the most part. And if anything, she assists them because like they're so powerful. She's not just Superman with boobs. But like, it feels to me like they took the most family-friendly version and they just kind of, oh yeah, that's the most family-friendly version. I mean, even the first thing, she's like, oh yeah, I have all the same powers as my cousin. I just don't help people because I don't want to. Like, what?
Well, it wasn't as simple as she. But again, I mean, we don't want to get too deep.
No, we don't want to ruin a show that doesn't come out for another 6 months.
Come out for another 6 months. But I would say that what they gave up with Supergirl so far in the pilot, there's plenty of room for her character to grow and become something really unique.
But where's she going to grow to? Is she going to get a promotion at work? Go start dating James Olsen?
No,
like,
she becomes her own superhero in National City, doing her own thing, and like, yes, okay. I don't care what version of Supergirl you give me. I don't care if it's 50 years from now. I don't care if she's God level. I don't care if she's a girl that just has super strength and can't fly. Everyone, anywhere, at any point in time, regardless of the character, is going to say that's a version of Superman. That's a stigma that you just can't get away from because of the nature of her character. She's a female version of Superman, regardless of her relationship with him, family or otherwise, that came after the original. It's like Spider-Girl. It's like Julia Carpenter. It's like Jessica Drew. It's like all those characters. Yes, they're totally different properties. They belong to Marvel, where Sony owns whatever, but at the end of the day, people say that's a version of Spider-Man. That's just the way it goes. But it doesn't mean that her character can't become something totally different from what Superman does. It doesn't mean that she can't become totally unique from, you know, the element of Clark Kent versus Superman and her character, whatever her name is on the show now, versus Supergirl. She can still grow. She can still become her own character, and that's the basis for it. And that's why I think that.
You know what? Actually, thinking about what you just said, I don't know why it didn't dawn on me earlier. Maybe it's just because I watched the pilot like over this weekend and I'm still under jet lag. But They actually did. I mean, and maybe Sammie knows a little bit better because you seem like you know Supergirl pretty well. They kind of gave her character development. They did. They turned her into Power Girl, and then she didn't sell books, so they went back to being Superman's cousin.
Well, I actually didn't see the Supergirl pilot. I just feel I know. I felt I have very strong guilt in me, and I just felt too. I would be like, oh. No, I can't do it unless I know that it was absolutely intentionally released as a.
It was intentionally. DC's released every pilot of theirs for the last 2 years.
Because last year they did that with Flash, and Flash had one hell of an opening because
this was so long ago. Like this is so many months ahead of time, though.
That's about when
apparently it's the same. Yeah. Apparently it's the same amount as they released to Constantine. I think.
Exactly. Yeah.
Last year they
it's a way like in fact DC released clearly DC I mean like DC released Constantine. DC released Constantine and then made changes to the next couple episodes based on fan reaction to that pilot. Like people were like, I don't like the girl that's right along with Constantine, and they got rid of her.
Yeah, they got rid of her real
quick. If people don't like Jimmy Olsen in this leaked pilot, they're going to replace that guy.
Let me tell you something. Jimmy Olsen ain't going anywhere, and I can tell you why Jimmy Olsen's not going anywhere.
Flash is the only one that didn't get changes, right? Because like all the leaked ones got slight alterations as the show went on. I think Flash just stayed on track because that got such a
people just liked it, so they were like, okay.
Man, let me tell you something. This Supergirl's catered to two people. All right, two types of people. It's catered to young boys that want to see an attractive woman run around. Hold on a second.
I thought you were going to say.
It's catered to young boys that want to see an attractive woman run around in a skimpy outfit. And it's catered to women.
Young boys even want to see sexy Supergirls go to syndicated television to find that now.
I'm telling you, like,
I actually counter to that because they even joked about the skimpy outfit because Supergirl's had that, you know, like the whole up here belly hanging out, like really like.
They had like a costume, like the costume changes.
Basically that outfit, and they were like, no, you should be on a stripper pole, and then she put on a skirt that goes to her knees. And she put on a full body outfit.
Yeah,
as opposed
and you just wait. Like, dude, I will like the sun will rise tomorrow. I promise you. That skirt is gonna come back. Like that's their audience base. I mean, you like the show first and foremost is catered to women. Like it's there. That's why Jimmy Olsen is attractive. That's why you have Supergirl, who's some girl trying to understand her place in the world. It's like literally. Like quite literally, you can watch the Supergirl pilot, and it's like a throwback to the Mary Tyler Moore show. It's like some girl that starts out in a big city, and she's trying to understand her way and rising through the ranks and so on. Do what?
Are you really comparing Supergirl to Mary Tyler Moore?
The theme of the show is exactly that. Like it's the theme of the show is every woman growing up. It's a young girl who's introduced to a new environment. She's not really sure what her place in that environment is, and she grows to understand it. That is the Supergirl in a nutshell. Like it's her going from a girl who's unsure about herself to being sure and saying, I mean, you can watch it in real time in the show.
It's Mary Tyler Moore every time I watch that stupid show. Dude, now.
You watch it like real time in the show where she was like, oh, I remember I used to be able to fly before, but I kind of forgot how it feels, you know, and I'm trying to remember how to do it again, and she's just like she's growing into that character, and that's fine. You know, I mean that's a great idea. I mean, it's a show catered to women because there aren't a whole lot of women-centric superhero shows out there. In fact, there probably aren't any.
Actually, I did see an article about that. CBS has Supergirl on their front line of strongly led. What was it? Led by women, strong front runner shows. You know, where it's like they got like 4 or 5
time slots.
Yeah, and it makes sense that they would do that. I mean, I don't understand why anybody would believe that the niche market for Supergirl is not the women community. I mean, why wouldn't it be? But the fact remains that that's a great element, and that needs to be there. But at the same time, like with DC going into their TV shows right now, my main concern is how is that going to fit in? Are they even going to tie it in? Are they
Supergirl into the shows?
Yeah, are they even going to tie Supergirl into the other shows?
Basically, everybody on board has said yes, it's a part of the Arrow universe, and they're going to do crossovers, except for one of the CBS producers. She's not even the writer. She's like, no, I think we're going to keep Supergirl to ourselves for a while. She's not denying it's in the Arrowverse, but she's denying that they're going to do crossovers.
Yeah, that's why we did a cover shoot of Arrow Flash and Supergirl together.
Right. What I think it is the producer of CBS is like, no, we don't want to do that. But everyone else is like, why wouldn't we?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you do that? And I love how like they even said in the pilot, there's a line where they're like, there used to be only one superhero, but now there are 2 of them. And I'm like, We're really gonna do that? You're gonna do that now? Like,
but no, I mean that's why I say. I mean it's the opposite. Like Supergirl is the opposite of what you see in like male-driven centric shows, where you have like the super attractive woman in the show, you know, and you have the guy that like gets the girl as the show goes on, and so on and so forth. Like that whole romantic chemistry. Like
dreamy.
Do what?
I found James Olsen dreamy. I'm just saying.
Dude, James Olsen was super hot. Like I mean.
Oh my god, like, Rob, I went a little creepy. Rob went full on creepy with
right,
that.
So to the guy, the dude that plays James Olsen, man, like you are hot. no, it's okay, Sammie. Let me ask you this: since you're a woman,
she's a little boy apparently.
Okay, as a woman. Would you find a show like Supergirl, which is about a woman with superpowers, dealing with a ridiculously, like, obsessive, like, with a boss that's like the relationship between what's her name and the Devil Wears Prada? That's like what the relationship is between Supergirl and the boss.
What did you watch on the weekends, Rob?
Dude, I was raised in a house full of women, like.
Okay, all right, that makes a little more sense.
But nonetheless, like I've seen all that stuff. Like you would not believe how many times I had to watch Cry Baby with Johnny Depp. Like, it's, nothing. Like it was, no. That's exactly what it was. But no, like, okay. Would you be more like, how inclined would you be to watch a show with a female-centric character who has superpowers, basically like Superman, and has an attractive male counterpart? And you know the two of them will get together eventually. How inclined are you to watch a show like that versus like The Flash or Green Arrow?
If you have to pick between all three, they're on the same time.
Between all three.
TiVo doesn't exist. It blew up.
I mean, honestly, it depends on the content of it. And I mean, you have to keep in mind what each of the characters are and what their powers are. And what, I mean, it's just kind of different. Like I've talked about this before. Like, it's just like, you know, Flash and Arrow, they're kind of like similar aged guys, right? Aren't they?
Yeah.
Well, I think Arrow's technically like a few years older, but Flash is the younger guy because that's one of the complaints they have.
Okay, but then you have Supergirl, and I mean she's younger. I mean she's a teenager, right?
Yeah. Well, she's 23.
Isn't she like fresh out of college? I think is what they were saying. Like she just got the job as an intern.
She's in her lower 20s, like her early 20s.
Okay.
I would say she's on par with Flash, while Arrow's a little above them both.
All right. Well, listen. Here's the thing. CW and I guess now CBS, this whole Arrowverse thing. They really like having attractive people in their midst. Like, there's no way around that. Like, have you ever seen an unattractive person in any of those shows?
In a show?
No,
yeah.
I never have.
Not one person. Not one person.
They are all
unattractive. So, I don't even remember the question anymore. But I mean, I don't know. That's, as long as it's good, it really doesn't matter who's the hot center one and who's the hot.
Shit. Well, that destroys my point. I was hoping you would say, "Well, of course I would," and I'd be like, "See."
She went deep on you.
Yeah,
you went deep.
My argument.
I don't speak for all women, though. So
yeah, I know.
Wait, you don't speak for every woman in existence?
That's weird.
Did. That's why we brought you on the podcast.
That's why we have women on the podcast.
You're like the entire female demographic of all ages.
Where's Muppet Tiffany? I want her back. I
think there's only like 5 women total, which includes Sammie and Tiffany. So that watch the show.
Yeah, I've only met 3 in my life.
Oh.
There we go. Now we got 6. If Muppet Tiffany counts.
So what do you think about it?
Yeah, Tiffany, why don't we get your opinion on it? Because we've talking. We got 3 guys talking about Supergirl, and Sammie's trying to defend everything over here.
Help me. All right, well, fill me in.
So what do you think about Supergirl? Like the way that they're, I don't know if you've seen it yet, but they're pretty much going about
She saw like the 45-minute preview that they released.
That's right, because someone watched it without me.
I watched some of the pilot. I didn't watch the whole.
Well, did you watch it with Tiffany and just skip out on Muppet Tiffany?
Yes. Anyway, no, I saw the trailer. The
6-minute trailer?
Yeah, the 6-minute trailer. And, well, okay. I agree that clearly this is DC's attempt at making a show to reach a female demographic, but I don't necessarily think that female demographic is comic book readers, because I think a lot of comic book readers, while yes, they will relate to Supergirl, have different tastes, but a non-comic reading demographic will have this gateway in her being female.
That is a really good point.
So So kind of like basically what Gotham did, where Gotham was like, hey, it's going to be in a comic world with comic stuff, but hey, it's a crime drama. And
it's basically a police procedural.
Yeah.
With the promise of maybe Batman showing up.
Yeah, essentially.
That's basically like
that's
a
a really good point.
a female led like office drama with a cape.
It's like Law and Order with capes, superheroes.
I just love that Tiffany maintained the Muppet Tiffany voice during that explanation.
Yeah.
Well, it just kind of happened, you know?
Okay.
Anyway, that's all.
Look how unamused Sal is.
I deal with this every day.
Yeah, Sal lives with this. Like,
Hi.
So I was like, whose idea was this? Why did we do this?
This is all you're doing.
This is technically Benny's fault.
That's true.
He noticed my puppet.
Okay, so yeah, I think overall we can all agree. I mean, they're trying something new with Supergirl. My question is, if it doesn't work, are we just going to lose the show? Or will they do what Arrow did and adapt it to a comic? Because Arrow Season 1, I don't care what anyone says, was not built for comic readers. It was built for, we're going to make a vigilante kind of guy with a dark and brooding, like a whole... Season 2 is where they were like, oh, wait, we have this guy named Deathstroke and this whole comic book history that we can put in.
Even Deathstroke was in the pilot, like his mask. They were like, well, maybe these nerds will like that.
Yeah, but that was it. They left, and then they didn't even touch on it the entire season.
No.
Very ending. They were like, oh, that mask is my friends. And it's like stupid. But what I'm saying is like, what I'm wondering is if this does well, because I didn't mind the thing. My biggest complaint about the pilot was I felt like the effects were really low. Like she was, you could almost see the wires of her jumping up to go for the kicks and stuff like that.
It was like what it was. I didn't even think about this until Sal mentioned. Until Sal was like, Rob, go watch the Wonder Woman pilot, and I said,
that was so bad.
That's almost how it felt watching the special effects. Like it was literally a throwback to the to the original Supergirl film. Like. It was obvious it was a green screen. It was obvious she was hanging on wires. I half expected to see her body rocking back and forth as she was flying.
Yeah.
I have expected to see that.
I don't know. I didn't have any real issue with the effects. I thought they were it's a TV budget. I'm kind of numb to TV effects at this point.
Yeah, but I mean, look what Flash does with a TV budget.
Although that last scene from the season finale, was wow.
Him running into a vortex, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
I like Sammy's little ejection.
That's the non-spoiler version.
I mean, that was. I was sitting there looking at that, and I was like, okay. Like as soon as that void opened, I was like, okay, Flash is gonna run into it. And so from that point until he got there, my question was how? How is he just gonna allow himself to get sucked in and run? How? I mean, it's not like he's running up a wall.
I felt he did the wall run earlier in the season, but I felt like the first half of the episode was him debating what he should do with the season finale. I'm not going to explain what he was doing, but he was debating was simply because that way they could put all of the budget into that final sequence.
That's exactly it. That's exactly. I agree, dude. That's exactly what it was.
All right, we're going to have him stall out for 40 minutes. The last 6 minutes are the most amazing you've ever seen in your life.
Dude, I found myself, when I was watching it, it was on Hulu, and so I was getting pissed off because of the ads, but I found myself, skipping forward, okay. Oh my God, Vortex.
I was middle of Denver Comic Con, and I was jet lagged like crazy, and I was in bed, the hotel bed, and I had the laptop on my chest, and I'm dozing off, and my wife is sitting there wake up, it's your show finally, wake up. And I'm like, why are they? We know he's going to do it. Why are we doing this?
Right. I know you're going to be the Flash.
Well, with regards to your question, I would say that if the show flops, if for whatever reason it just tanks, if women are just like, this is stupid, I don't like this, I don't like the dichotomy of feminism between Supergirl and her boss, this super over type feminism versus I just want to be equal feminism, I hate that dichotomy. If they say the character's dumb, I don't like being pandered to with a super hot Jimmy Olsen, whatever the reason is, if it flops entirely, I don't think we'll see any more Supergirl. We would if she was a CW.
Well, that's the
they might be able to transfer her over since they're all owned by one parent company.
I'm just wondering if this whole appealing to the female demographic, pull in people who don't like comics but have the comic side to it, doesn't work. Will we get seasons 2 and 3 where it just goes straight comic? They're like, forget it all. Now she's Krypton and doing all crazy stuff.
I mean, it depends on how much money they want to invest. In truth, I would say it depends on the success of Batman versus Superman. Because Batman versus
everything
Superman
does.
it'll catapult the popularity of Supergirl among normal people, because they'll say, well, I mean, we don't have a TV show about Superman, but we do have a TV show about Supergirl, and so they'll be like, okay, I'll go watch that, and so if the movie sucks, then they're going to be like, well, screw, I'm not going to go watch the TV show about Supergirl. But if the movie
they're even stalling the comic right now. The comic is on hiatus until the show comes out.
Oh, really?
Which is the stupidest thing ever, because the comic got left in a cliffhanger. Like, she lost her powers, and it's like, she'll be back when? With like a question mark. You're like, what?
Maybe?
I mean, it's see, that's kind of the kicker to me. I always felt like if what DC was shooting for was to make this big immersive televised universe, which they should. If DC should be shooting for anything right now, they should be saying, like, here's all your DC characters so far, like Constantine, the Flash, Green Arrow, Supergirl, like all the characters we have so far in one big universe. When Constantine was canceled, then CW should have been like, we'll pick it up and like bring Constantine into the CW. And he didn't have to have like his own series, just have him like show up. So like the Flash or like Green Arrow is fighting somebody, and then like a demon runs by and Constantine's like, come back here, you.
Like you just back
of Constantine, and then like I don't know, a demon runs by. Like they should, like, if they weren't gonna do Aquaman, you'd be like, so like, you know, if they put Aquaman in the show, like, you know, they're chasing Deathstroke, and then like he jumps into a conveniently placed boat near an estuary, and then I don't know, Fishman shows up. Whatever.
They Green Lantern basically that same way, right?
Yeah, no, with the Green Lantern, I mean, I've got the list here that I've made up with all the references they've made to that. But like, we've got the test pilot disappearing from Fairest Air, where they're all like Fairest Air. Fairest Air has been showing up all over the place. It's been mentioned a total of 5 episodes in Arrow.
Because it costs nothing to do that.
What? Oh, I know, yeah.
Just names. Like it was like them putting the Wayne satellite in Man of Steel. They were like,
in Wayne Tower.
I wasn't even noticing. You couldn't even see it. Like I was watching for that stuff. I didn't even see the damn satellite. And everyone's like, "Did you see the satellite?" I'm like, "Were you really looking for that?" Like,
dude, it was in the opening. It was in the opening scene. How did you not see it?
From Man of Steel?
It was right there. It's the first thing you see. Like,
you know what? I've actually looked it up, and it's not like you are not watching the movie if you saw that stupid satellite.
Yes, you are. Yes,
well, didn't they have like Star Labs and everything in that one too?
Yeah, they had a big LexCorp vehicle. Like there was some piece of property just smashed.
Blowing up the DC universe. They were just
saw the LexCorp thing. We also saw IHOP a lot.
Yes, we did. Because IHOP is amazing. They have blueberry pancakes.
It's because IHOP is a DC staple. I don't know about you, but the last time I read the Justice League, they were all eating there.
They need to do that in the movies. Like, if Marvel can have the Avengers eating shawarma at the end of the movie,
shawarma is a thing.
Yes, it is. It is a thing. Well,
it's not a brand.
No, so is IHOP. I mean, IHOP's not Bigfoot, man. It exists. I've been there before. Like, it's not. I mean, it's real.
Yeah, but like the Shawarma Council didn't pay Avengers to put it in the movie.
There's a Shawarma Council?
Like, I'm just saying, like, there is no shawarma building.
By the way, I will say this: I did go by shawarma after
corn
that.
On the cob. There was no corn thing that would, like, you know what I mean? Like,
actually, yeah, like,
no,
it's
Al, in your world, is there a shawarma committee?
No.
there's like an Illuminati for shawarma. we will ensure that shawarma survives.
Well, if there is, they were really happy to see themselves represented in that movie. But like,
actually, it's really funny because when Benny said that he went and got shawarma, like shawarma sales skyrocketed about like 300% after that movie came out.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Everybody went to get shawarma. I never heard of it. Like, what the hell is shawarma? Is it like a pita?
I hadn't either. A shawarma store or shop or whatever you want to call it opened up in my town after that movie.
Nice.
I'm not sure what the meat is. I had it a while ago, right after the movie came out. But it's like basically like a pita with like chunks of meat. Like, I'm gonna call it meat because anything that's not like beef or pork, I don't recognize. So
see, Mero says shawarma is amazing. Like people are saying shawarma is
I remember really enjoying it, but there's nowhere to get it over here or where I was. I got it.
No, you'll be able to have it when you come out to visit.
Okay,
yeah, dude, I'm down with that. Okay, people in the chat, if you've had shawarma,
I do want to do a quick promotional plug for us in general. First off, anybody, I know Sammie hasn't had much to say today. That's simply because she wasn't prepared because we weren't prepared. She even asked for the topics so she could be better prepared, and I went, we don't know. Please show up. So
you're like, no.
Well, please show your love for Sammie by going over to her channel. She's a weekly poll contributor. It's Sammie. I believe the vanity URL is Sammie Reads.
It is. That is correct.
Okay. And Goldman will be able to post a link. But I also want to make a mention of, because we have a lot of people here, the weekly poll has its own official Twitter and its own official Facebook that we made over a month ago, and we've never once mentioned.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. It's true.
So we do want to start building up those numbers, and if you want to stay up to date in the entire Weekly Poll crew, our podcast, everything we're doing, because there's a lot of stuff that we've been talking about, guys. A lot more stuff coming out. We're talking about extra podcasts. We'll have like a TV show movie-centric one, so we can have our comic-centric one and our TV show-centric one. Possibly even like later down the road, I'll be doing some more gaming stuff. We don't know what's going to be happening. Rob will be jumping in. We'll be both Destiny News forever. But make sure you go follow facebook.com/The Weekly Poll. Goldman Vision can go ahead and put that in there. And also check out our Twitter. You'll stay up to date on all of this stuff. Don't forget about our individual Twitters. But if you want to see the whole group as a whole, that's the best way to do it. So
yeah.
It's true.
We really should be plugging that stuff every episode, guys, because like it's had like 30 followers forever because we've never mentioned it.
But yeah, so it's what were we talking about before we started plugging stuff?
Well, we should talk about
Shawarma?
Yeah, we were talking about shawarma. We should be talking about Benny's appearance in Singapore.
Okay.
And
Yeah. Tell us about Singapore.
So I go to Singapore, and I'm completely... just so you guys know, the reason I wasn't here last week is Maker Studios, the network that we run through, and the Weekly Poll may be joining up with soon. We're just talking to them. But they're a great YouTube network, and they invited me to come down to Singapore to speak on a panel about how you get started on YouTube, how you grow quickly, how you build a brand, all this other stuff. And I went there because it was a trip to Singapore. Why wouldn't I go? So they were paying for it, so I was like, whatever. So I go down there. First thing, Singapore is a beautiful country. Okay, when I was going there, I was under the expectation that this was like a third world country. They are more advanced than America. Like, there is a Wi-Fi everywhere. There is 19 floors to buildings and like malls everywhere you can imagine. Wow. And just, it is the most beautiful place I've ever been in my life. It was amazing. And it is so Americanized, you can go visit that place in a heartbeat. But if you're not in the central area and you go a little on the outside, they don't speak full English. They speak what's known as Singlish, which is a mixture of Singaporean and English.
Holy cow.
Okay.
Dude, I'm looking at pictures of Singapore right now. It looks amazing.
It was amazing. Bring the whole people there. The whole group is going. We're gonna vacation out there.
We need to do like a company retreat, like somewhere. Do a company retreat to Singapore. I'm down with that.
Rob has been pushing this company retreat. It's really exciting.
I've been pushing a company retreat.
I've been trying to do that for a while now. Anyway, so I get to Singapore, and the first thing they want us to do is they want us to find where we can, like, a part of the arrangement with Maker was that I pop up on one of their videos and I make a video in Singapore stating it's from Maker and blah, blah, blah. So I said, what's a great idea is I'll go to a local comic book shop and I'll get the books and I'll do my weekend review. Why not, right? I mean, it's the easiest thing for me to do. So I went to this local comic book shop and I tweeted it out a few times. I was going to be at the shop at these times, at these days, whatever. And I expected nobody to show up there. I'm still kind of shocked that people want to hear me talk like in my deep voice and go over stories and stuff. The fact that I care about that just still blows my mind. But whatever. So I'm over there and I tweeted out and I'm like, it's Singapore. Like, I don't have any fans of Singapore. Like, this no one's going to show up. I'm going to get my books. Cool.
Right.
Next time we have the show up, 6 people show up. They all drew pictures of me, and they wanted me to draw pictures like on their comics, and I don't draw. I warned them 5 minutes. Are you sure? The moment this pen touches this book, it's ruined. It's done.
I hope you're not buying this for the value.
So I hit them drawing like really cruddy Batman, really cruddy Spider-Man. They liked it. And so
I liked your Spider-Man. That was great.
You like my Spider-Man?
I thought it looked great. I thought it was fun.
But Batman did not come out as good. But
I noticed that was not posted, so yeah.
Yeah. And so the first day was just the meetup, and that was fine. And I tweeted out that we're going to go record the show the next day. So I had to go back to the hotel room, and I'm in the middle of beautiful Singapore in my hotel reading comic books. And I'm like, this is what a comic nerd does. I don't miss my week in comics. Got to read everything. Everyone's over there chilling at the pool and like getting tans, getting massages, and I'm in the room, music in the background, just like, yo, what's Batman doing now? So I go and I record, and we record the video. Now, it's insanely hot in Singapore, and I didn't bring water, so I'm sweating like crazy, and I set everything up, and I start to record. Now, in the time that I'm recording, a lot of people have shown up because, first off, I'm there with the camera recording in this random comic book store. Secondly, I did tweet out we were going to do this. So there ends up being, I would say, like 10, 11 people watching us record the episode. And they all want to get pictures with me afterwards, and they all at least know my name. I don't know if they know the channel or if someone just like, yeah, it's a YouTuber. I have no idea, but they all know who I was, supposedly. All wanted pictures, all kinds of stuff. And so the mall's loud. I'm exhausted from walking around. I'm hungry because now it's 1 o'clock, and I haven't had breakfast because I was trying to get over to this comic book store. And my I guess I call it an entourage, but like the Maker guys that were giving me lifts everywhere, they had to go film elsewhere. So I had to walk from the hotel over there.
They didn't even come with you.
Well, I mean, I would have gotten a taxi, but I was like, whatever. It's only like a mile. I can walk a mile. Not realizing with humidity, it's like 120 degrees.
Yeah, it's like
That's a
carrying
long
like a person.
mile, man.
Yeah.
That is a long ass mile.
So I get over there, and the owner of the store, like, he mentions lunch. And that's all I catch because it's in Singlish. I got noise going on. People are wanting pictures. And I'm like, yeah, sure. Thinking he wants to go like 2 floors above us.
Right, because you're in a mall, right? Like, you're in an area where there's literally food aplenty.
Exactly. So I'm like, yeah, no, let's get lunch. That'd be great. Some of the fans want to come along. So I'm like, yeah, you mind if these guys come by? Because they took the time to come out here and blah, blah, blah. So he's like, yeah, no problem. We'll do that. So I follow him, and we go to like some back like area of the mall. And I don't know where we're going at all. And we end up parking.
You're like, okay, and this is where we're going to harvest your organs. Let's go.
We ended up in a parking garage. So now I'm there with the owner of the store, and this one fan ended up coming with us because he wanted to go and just get lunch with me and everything and ask me questions.
Because he's the only one who also didn't understand where you were all going. Like,
Exactly.
I was like, look, we're gonna go to this place. And they were all like, oh.
So we're in the parking garage, and now I feel rude because I've agreed to everything. So I'm like, whatever. I'm like twice the size of all the Singaporeans. We'll see where.
I'll take them.
I'm not a tiny guy. They are. We'll see where this goes. So he like pops the trunk. I load all the equipment in there, and I get in the car, and I'm like, all right, here we go. So I got the GoPro. I actually put the footage in there, but I'm like in the car filming. I'm like, where are we going? And he's like, we're going to this old like famous hotel. And I'm like, what did I agree to?
Why? We just left food. It's that way. It's where it was.
So apparently it's like a famous hotel in Singapore with a famous Chinese restaurant, which was like real Chinese food. So they go over there, and we're sitting down. And keep in mind, I mean, everyone is super friendly. Don't get me wrong. Like, no one is making it creepy. No one's making it weird. I loved every minute of it. So we're there, and then he has his wife and his sister show up. So I got them, all 4 of them, like around me, and they're just like ordering Chinese food left and right. And it's not, guys, it's not American Chinese food.
So it's not like General Tso's chicken.
It's
like they even have that.
It's like dumplings and like this weird like white wrap thing, and like I'm just like, all right, no, don't like that one. Oh, that one's good. And they just want to see me eat everything and figure out like if I liked it or not. And like they are so friendly, and they're just asking 1,001 questions, and I'm just eating like all this random food, and just this is so much fun. I have no idea how I got here.
Dude, that sounds like an incredible experience.
He brought me back, and like we chatted or whatever for a little bit longer. But I mean, it really was an amazing experience. But that I will always make sure I know where I'm going right now, and not just agree to things.
Right.
I still would have gone, but knowing ahead of time probably would have made me feel a little safer going over there.
Yeah. I'm surprised that we didn't see a tweet from you saying like, "Here are my coordinates. Please make sure that I don't."
Probably would have said that. Every time I left the hotel, I had no internet, so I couldn't tweet or anything like that. So I'd be like looking for, I'd be like Instagram, and then like signal.
Honestly, like as long as that story didn't end in murder, like that sounds great.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Your organs are all in the same place you left them. That's great.
Yeah, no, you brought it back to the comic shop. We're good to go. You know?
Oh man.
Yeah.
I mean, if I go out to Singapore, I'm definitely going back to the shop because that guy was super friendly. Everyone there was super. The whole country was super friendly. I didn't have one bad experience.
That's awesome.
But then I go to Denver Comic Con, and that's Colorado, so they're all super friendly.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna be like, and they were all.
yeah.
But I have another funny story about that one, and if he's listening, he'll get a kick out of this. So I'm at Denver Comic Con, right? And I do the rounds. I'm wearing the comic store and T-shirt, so I can get business cards and do the whole, you know, the business thing you do with this, doing that whole thing. And I talked to some guy at a podcast. Like, they own a podcast network, and they said that they're looking for podcasts but in the networks. I said, yeah, I'll check the card. I'll look at it. You know, if I feel like we could fit there, maybe it'll be a good home for the podcast, so we can stop having random locations that goes up all the time.
Yeah.
But so I leave, and then one of the fans who actually helped write a script at one point, but he's just pretty much a fan of the show, apparently went over and talked to the guy, and then he hits me up on Twitter, and he's like, hey, so you're going to be on that guy's show tomorrow? What?
Whoops.
He's like, yeah, the guy said you were going to come by, and I said, oh, you're going to be on the show? And he's like, yeah, he's going to be on the show tomorrow. And I'm like, come again? when am I supposed to be showing up for something?
I like how
It was all a big misunderstanding, but I did show up for their show. But I mean,
Cool.
I like
that's
how
what
there's a
happens when
bigger-
people know you're in an area. They just volunteer you to be on things.
Say me what?
I like how there was a bigger misunderstanding while you were in the States than when you were in
Yeah.
Singapore.
And native English speakers are like, wait, where am I going? What am I doing?
So, I mean, both my convention things were crazy. It was awesome. I mean, Singapore was amazing. Everyone there was amazing. I loved every minute of it. I got to bring both of you there. They were asking about you guys, but
I think it'd be like.
But I guess Singapore's a big DC state, so they were kind of like, "You're the only real DC fan," you know.
That's fair.
I mean, I've got a passport that doesn't expire for like another 6 years or something like that. So, yeah.
Go.
Nice.
I got a passport to go to the Bahamas. I think it was the Bahamas. Yeah, to go to the Bahamas.
Know where I went? It was hot.
Oh, dude, man, I went on a cruise to the Bahamas, man. It was amazing. Like, it was unbelievable. I mean,
we get you asked what show it was. I got the card somewhere. Podcast of Interest is the network. I don't know what show the guy was from.
But no, when I was on the cruise, like they were wanting me to do excursions. I keep wanting to say like incursions, but they were wanting me to do excursions.
I hope you don't do on your side.
And the woman was like, "So, are you interested in doing any excursions?" And I was like, "What do you have?" She's like, "Well, we have scuba diving." And I looked at her for a minute. And she's like, "Are you not a fan of scuba diving?" I was like, "Lady, do you really see me fitting into like a scuba outfit? Like, are you for real? That ain't gonna happen." See my big ass squeeze in one of those tiny little things.
No, you know what? I will say this about trips like that, because, and I mean, you can take it however you want, but when I was in the military, I spent a lot of time, like, all of my friends were, like, I know it sounds weird, but, like, basically all my friends are black friends, you know, because that's the division of the Army I was in, basically. And at one point I asked one of them, I'm like, "Hey, you want to go snowboarding with me?" And he's like, "What are you, crazy? Black people don't do anything that could kill them. Like, snowboarding, diving with sharks, skydiving, that's you crazy white people."
Going to check out ghosts and shit.
You want to check out ghosts?
Oh, dude, I'm saying, man, like, dude, I've got man. Let me tell you something. In Louisville, I can't remember what the name of that place is, but it's this old tuberculosis asylum where they used to put people who had tuberculosis, and it's like this like horrendously haunted place, or supposedly haunted, and
it is just choked with ghosts.
Dude, it's awful, man. It's like something out of Insidious, is what it's like. And some of my friends were like, "Hey guys, you know what would be really, really cool?" It's like, "What?" And they're like, "Spend the night at that asylum." And I was like, "Nope."
I'm sorry, I thought you said something was cool.
Yeah.
Get like something delicious, and
I
then
am
watch
not
a movie.
going to spend the night in that asylum and then in the middle of the night disappear into some alternate dimension, you know, of like ghosts and monsters and stuff. Man,
Yeah, where you're just pulled apart by ghosts.
Pulled apart by ghosts, exactly.
Until they build a condominium on top of it, and you can like haunt somebody there.
Yes, I can, dude. I was debating on whether or not I wanted to see the reboot of Poltergeist, and I'm glad I didn't, because everybody hates it.
Yeah, you in America decided not to go. That was interesting.
Oh man.
Apparently, they scrapped the It reboot because of the Poltergeist failure.
Why would you reboot it? Why does it need to be rebooted?
I'll take a reboot of it. Have you watched it recently?
Oh, dude, no.
Because I have.
Oh, I know. It's campy and it's terrible, and Tim Curry's kind of like, we all
No, Tim Curry's the best part of it. The problem, it is great until they grow up, and then it's lame and boring.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that one. Do you even know what It is, Sammie?
It's a Scary Clown by Stephen King. It is.
I mean, I never understood how people were like, "Oh my god, that movie was so scary." It was?
Well, first of all, it was a TV show. Like, it was a movie in as much as it was collected. But people are like, you know, that movie. I'm like, yeah, that 6.5 hour long movie was really scary. Like,
well, I was awake for it.
Yeah, but
I just wonder, Sammie, because like we all debated what your age was, and you've said your birthday today, so now we all know what your age is. But you're still the youngest in the whole group here, so.
Right. we all decided to get health insurance, and you would help us out big time.
What was that?
He said if we all get health insurance, you would help us out big time.
Yeah, if we got like the weekly pull group coverage, you would really help bring down the average. It'd be great.
We should do that.
Get the weekly pull health insurance?
Not a bad idea.
I think Rob's like 43, guys.
No, I'm like 31, you ass. I'm not 43. What the hell's wrong with you? 31 years old,
wait,
man.
chat, how old's Rob?
Yeah, chat, what do you think Rob is?
I like talking to the chat like it's one guy.
It is one person.
Hey,
just has multiple accounts. I just have these images of like one super troll in a spin chair with monitors around him, like
typing all really fast.
For me, chat looks like Swarm from Marvel, where it's just a collection of bees in a cloak. It's just a collection of screen names.
So we're just naming one dude.
No, are you fucking
You're
serious?
naming chat a villain. Like that's a villain now.
Dude,
you should. You know what? I'm gonna put this out there. Hold on. We're gonna do a contest. We've never done a contest. Okay.
Chat's just like
No,
Rob is
they're
watching
just
each other.
throwing.
What are these numbers?
They're throwing out these 87, 40,
Our
51.
first weekly full contest, all right, guys? And the
39.
winner of which will get a trade paperback of your choice as long as Amazon can ship to your country. I will ship it out there myself. We'll do it, all right? I want you to draw the villain known as the Chat and tweet it out to the weekly poll and attach all of us. Sammie also, she's on this episode. She has to vote. Draw the Chat, what that villain would look like, based upon what Sal said.
See, I like how you guys refer to all of our fans as villains. Like you're all bad people.
No, it's just that Swarm was a villain.
Swarm was a villain. That's what I was going with it.
I know. I'm messing around.
Add a superhero if you want. Just make a superhero or villain or anti-hero that is known as the Chat. The winner will be picked by all of us, Sammie included. You have to tag all of us and the Weekly Poll Twitter account. Don't forget to follow the Weekly Poll on Twitter and Facebook to follow on all of us. But we will vote on it, and the winner will get a trade paperback sent over from me as long as Amazon can ship to your country. I'm leaving that thing out there because I am not shipping to some obscure country, and like a $20 trade paperback cost me $100 to ship.
Dude, I did that once. Like when I gave away, I did a giveaway for, for Cable and Deadpool. Like the person who won was in Australia, and I was like, at first I was like, I mean, I could take it back, but that'd be a dick move. So I was like, okay, I'll ship it to him. And so I went to like UPS, and I was like, how much is it going to cost to ship this? They were like $105, and I was like,
Amazon,
Like, how about this?
can get there, it costs me almost nothing. That's why I do it that way.
yeah.
So the cutoff will be we will all vote on it next Tuesday. Sammie, you're back next Tuesday. You don't have an option now.
Hey.
So okay, do our first contest, the Chat.
Love it.
Yes, that is an awesome idea.
By the way, I'm going to use this opportunity also to shout out to Trevor, who won our Comic Pop T-shirt comment contest. This is your last chance, man. If you don't get back to us, you're not getting that shirt.
I saw that video where you guys are like, and you won, and it's like, well, is he ever going to say anything?
Yeah, he's not going to say anything. But let us know, man, because otherwise we'll do another video where I pick somebody else who is more than willing to take that shirt off our hands.
You don't have to draw worse than me. You can draw whatever you want. Well, I mean,
yeah, draw whatever. Like
concept itself, because some people are like, "Oh, I can't draw." Whatever. Give us a great concept for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we never talked about Jurassic World.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
That's on our new movie podcast, which is coming.
I mean, it comes out next week, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Jurassic World, yeah, dude. Oh my god, I am so psyched. We're not going to see Ian Grant, which is really going to be disappointing. But
Why can't he even cameo?
Do what?
Why can't he cameo?
I don't know why he can't cameo, because he doesn't want to. Because Sam Neill's like, you know what? I'm tired. Like, I'm not Alan Grant.
That's right.
Stop referring to
Whatever. He did the third one and whatever. But Jeff Goldblum, isn't he in it? No, he's in Independence Day. He's in the new sequel for Independence Day.
Yeah, and I'm not going to go see that.
How is there a
I'm
sequel?
going to see that. What are you kidding?
They come back.
They come back. That's what I'm. How are you going to have? It's like having a sequel to 2012, like 2024. Like we were wrong last time. I don't understand. Like this. I mean,
That's that now. But like, how would you have a sequel to Hot Tub Time Machine? Well, they did it. So
no, but Hot Tub Time Machine was just about a time machine where you can travel through time. That's cool. Like, you can do that multiple times. It's not like it's a one-use thing. It's not like a disposable time machine. Like, how can you have a... It's like
Just because
Independence
they
Day.
can use the time machine doesn't mean that they should make a movie about them using the time.
No, it's Independence Day. It's aliens that come from space on Independence Day, and they say, we're going to blow your shit up. And Jeff Goldblum and Will Smith are like, nope, and they blow up like the Queen. They blow up the Queen, the leader. Okay, now...
Well, maybe it's from the alien's perspective.
They blow up the entire population of their planet.
Okay, and so here's my question. Like, this question needs to be asked. What exactly did the planet Earth do wrong to invoke the ire of not just one alien race, but apparently two? Like, that's what I want. Or are they like, is it like the alien race's best friend? Like, you killed our friends, and now we're gonna kill
it was
you.
just that they're like locusts. They consume every natural resource and then move on. That's the quote. That's what he says.
Yeah, I know
That's why
that,
they're there.
but aliens are coming, like, if it's going to be Independence Day 2, where are the aliens coming from? Like, if we destroyed, like, all the aliens from the first one, where are the next ones? Unless there's more of them, which would be, like, the flimsiest plot ever. Like, oh, you thought you blew them all up. I mean, that could be the caption. Like, Independence Day 2,
Rob,
like,
this is a rant for the movie podcast. We can't go into Independence Day. She mentioned Jurassic World, and you're like, Independence Day!
I brought up Independence Day.
It was a Jeff Goldblum tangent.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's what it was.
we are discussing having a movie and TV show podcast, guys. You will start seeing a lot of tweets of that coming out. It will be hosted right here on this channel, and it'll probably be hosted on another channel that is going to be coming out very soon because Rob already gets the weekly pull. He doesn't get both.
Yeah. No, wait, that's not fair.
All right, guys. I think it's time to close out the main portion of the podcast. Maybe we'll stick around a chat. I don't know. It's up to Rob. He's hosting right now, and he looks very preoccupied looking
You
at
guys are
something.
playing Divergence.
Somebody had a really cool idea. They said Independence Day 2 would be Earth versus Jaden Smith, and that would be the worst movie ever. But I could see that happening. Like Jaden, this is gonna be like
I'd watch
After
it.
Earth. I wouldn't watch. Are you serious? You would watch it?
I
Ironic.
wouldn't watch anything with him.
Ironic.
No, you're so full of crap. You'd be excited. You'd be like, yes, I can't wait.
All
to
right,
watch
guys.
this.
So we're going to close out the main podcast or the main show that goes up on Rob's channel. We can rant all you want about Independence Day and everything else afterwards, but we're going to do the normal closeout. Don't go away unless Rob turns off the Twitch, and then I guess that's the end of that.
I haven't done anything yet. So,
But guys, don't forget, I am Benny the Comic Storian. The channel is Comic Storian, and my Twitter handle is @ComicStorian if you want to chat. That is Sal from TV Little Out. Ah, my stupid screen says that. From Comic Pop,
Comic Pop.
TV. Wait, what is your Twitter handle now? It's still Comic. Is it Comic
Sal
Pop?
says what?
Oh, you kept that. Okay. I don't know if you said Sal says Comic Pop. I don't know.
No.
So Sal is from Comic Pop. Make sure you check out his channel and go to at Sal Says What. That is Rob from Comics Explained. His Twitter handle is Comics Explained, and it's got his face in like a very weird angle where it makes him look like he's just like super thin. He's like,
are you serious? It makes Rob look super thin. Like it
No, I'm saying-
makes Rob look thin. Like I'm
Not that
picking up
Rob
what you were
is.
putting down. Like I'm picking what the fuck you were saying, man.
at least you caught on. Rob's not stupid, apparently. Anyway,
you can
and that
pull
is
the wool over
Sammie
my
Reed's the
eyes.
channel. Sammie Reed. She does a lot of like skit-based kind of comic book stuff, and her Twitter handle is @Sammie Reeds. If you're going to be participating in our contest, make sure you draw what the chat would look like, and make sure you tweet it to the weekly poll and all four of us. So @Sal Says What, @Comics Explained, @Sammie Reeds, and @Comic Storian.
Yeah, we're gonna get some wild
and-
looking stuff.
Huh? What?
We're gonna get some wild looking pictures.
The winner of that contest will be selected on next week's episode, and we will go ahead and say, here's the comic. You get to pick your trade paperback of your choosing. What? You know what I just realized? They're going to pick an omnibus. All right, anyway.
Yeah,
No,
they're gonna
why'd
pick.
you
They're
get
gonna
that
pick
idea?
like the entire collected works of
you can have
Batman.
any trade of your choice up to $30, not that like $200 omnibus of all the X-Men books ever.
That's fair.
I want
Why,
Jeff
why is the
Johns'
comic story
entire-
broke now? You had to buy like 9 omnibuses.
I want
Like-
absolute Watchmen.
Yeah, because if you didn't say that, somebody would be like, I want the omnibus of like Jeff Johns' entire Green Lantern run.
Exactly. I want the entire Blackest Night run. All right, guys. So this is the close for Rob's channel. Thank you guys so much. We'll probably be around. I don't know if it'll be 5 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever Rob wants to do, but we'll chat with you guys like normal and just kind of keep being goofy.
Yep.
But thank you guys so much for joining us, and we will see you next time right here at the Weekly Pull.
Peace.